on Kenya Power.
Okay. Something I want to touch on here, and let's switch gears now. It's free at last. Businessman Jimi Wanjigi, but he cries foul over dramatic arrest. Ledama, in fact, he blames ODM leader and President Uhuru Kenyatta for political persecution. Why is it that any time politicians are arrested, the scapegoat is always political persecution? Is it really happening, or is it just a ploy to hoodwink Kenyans away from the issues that they are actually facing? And this has happened from all sides. It's not just with Wanjigi only.
To deal with the issues that we have. It is true that most of the time politicians blame other politicians for their woes, but that may not be the case. And in this case, I do not believe that neither the president nor the prime minister had anything to do with the troubles that Jimi Wanjigi is facing. I think, to be honest with you, this is a fight between Jimi Wanjigi and his issues, and with the DCI, they've got their back and forth. So I don't think they should be dragging the name of the president and the prime minister in this. I think the prime minister is busy with his campaign, and I don't really believe that the prime minister have got any time to waste to try and fight his friend. Jimi Wanjigi has always been a friend of the party. He's a member of ODM. Yeah. And the way we do things at ODM is that we don't try to bring people down. You know, we fight within the party, but I think we come up with solution. But this is not something that relates with the party. Yeah. Neither is it something political. I believe, and I could be wrong, I could be guided, I could be corrected on this. I believe this has got to do with legal challenges that every businessman faces. So maybe before my friend Jimi Wanjigi points a finger at the president or the prime minister, I think he should really look at all his issues, his businesses and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cherargei, I see you shaking your head then. You also even wrote a letter to the Inspector General accusing the National Police Service of being partisan. They've responded and said it's baseless argument. What is it with politicians that any single time they're arrested, and we know you have issues, yes, you always blame political persecution? And yet there are charge sheets, and when it's backtracked, they can see that there are some issues that came up along the line. As much as I know Jimi Wanjigi is a businessman, I didn't know he's nowadays, but of course because he's running for presidency, he's now a politician. But let me take you back to Sunday. Was it Sunday or some day when he attended Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka's Ukambani Leadership Consultative Forum in Niata Farm? And Jimi Wanjigi was accusing the former Prime Minister and saying that betrayal, of course he should read the book called Betrayal in the City, by saying that he's likely to support Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka for presidency. And I think that is always began there. And Kenya, there is a systematic, nowadays when you criticize government, and some of us are victims of state persecution. Personally, I have been one. So I think when you look at that video, 3 days later, Jimi Wanjigi was being bludgeoned. I was shocked. I think they were in Afghanistan. Jimi Wanjigi, for all evidence and all of us here, you can, even DCI wants to summon me. They just need to issue summonses and say, appear at DCI headquarters. You are a person of interest. We need you to write a statement. That's how civil societies operate. But you find DCI bludgeoning an office somewhere in Westlands, but he cannot tell us who is killing Kenyans that are in River Yala being dumped there. So it means this country is that the DCI and DPP and EACC, we have always, these officers have been weaponized to fight political wars and do what we call political persecution. I remember Senator Ledama Olekina has accepted that Jimi Wanjigi is a member of ODM and has been a friend of ODM. He has been a sponsor. I know sponsor has a different word in Nairobi streets. He has been one of the donors. He was been one of the donors within the ODM party. But you remember the last time Jimi Wanjigi, the police went to his house. It is the same Raila Odinga who sat throughout the night. And James Orengo and the legal elite of ODM that were trying to protect Jimi Wanjigi. What has changed over the 2 years? So when Jimi Wanjigi comes out and says he has been betrayed, some of us tend to believe him because these are his friends. Raila Odinga is his friend. He's saying Uhuru Kenyatta is his friend. So from where I see, this is purely political persecution that some of us have already faced. Because people are asking, who are we safe with? We are not safe with people of Raila Odinga. If he can be vindictive against his friend, what happens to the rest of Kenyans?
I don't think you can allow such.
I'll give you a chance to respond.
No, I don't think you can allow such.
It's a fact.
Because Raila Amolo Odinga did not go and take the police to go and attack Jimi Wanjigi's house. Really, I think we have to...
But he's in handshake government.
Let's divorce issues here. There's a legal battle. Let Jimi Wanjigi, who is a very good friend of mine, let him face his own legal battle. We all have our own issues. You know, but we shouldn't be blaming people.
The last time Ledama was arrested, he kept quiet.
No, it doesn't matter.
He has told the line.
No.
The last time he used to be shaky, but when he was arrested, he started towing the line.
No. I was arrested. I was arrested and I was accused of hate speech. You know, that has got nothing to do with the president, neither does it have anything to do with Raila Amolo Odinga. There was an institution, which is the National Cohesion, that thought or believed that some of the words that I uttered could incite violence, you know. So I have to face that, and I'm willing to go through that and defend myself because I know exactly what I said. So I'm not going to blame the state here, and I will never blame the state for anything. I'm blaming maybe a misunderstanding by the national cohesion. So really, let us separate things here. Let us completely separate things here.
We know them twisting and intimidation.
The problem,
even the governors, you saw them in Naivasha,
let me just finish.
saying they are behind Azimio. These are governors that are being intimidated. They call us. Some of us know those governors.
Okay.
You know, so we know how things operate.
Okay.
You know, Senator Cherargei, I've given you an opportunity to speak, and I think you should read.
No, but we cannot allow you to mislead the country.
You should focus on facts, and facts are always.
Of course, I just
nothing changes. You did not see Raila Amolo Odinga there, neither did you see the president there. So it's absolutely ludicrous
when the first time
for you to assert
Jimi Wanjigi was being arrested, Raila Odinga was there.
You know,
is it false? Is it false, Adama?
You know the problem with Senator Cherargei is...
No, but I'm not...
he thrives in being cantankerous.
Ladama is my good friend. What I'm asking him, when the first time Jimi Wanjigi was arrested, Raila Odinga was in his house.
You already mentioned that and it is on record.
It doesn't matter. Listen, no, let us be very factual here. Whatever tribulations or whatever troubles that I find myself in, I should be able to face them and defend myself. And I should not blame Trevor Mbijo for all my troubles. Yeah. I mean, that is being an escapist. So the truth of the matter is this. If there is an issue that DCI or the public prosecution think that Jimi Wanjigi is involved in, he can go through the due process of the law. But we really have to move away from this issue of blame games. It doesn't help us. I know it's a political season. I think it's a quite sensitive thing to say. You just say politics, you know, but it's really not. The truth of the matter is that there are issues to be investigated. We allow the judiciary. The judiciary has played its role. They have released Jimi Wanjigi without charging him. They carry out the investigation. Let them do it. Okay. And then if at all they find anything that ought to be investigated, he follows the due process of the law.
All right. Well,
you know, Trevor, two things. First, I'll deal with the simple first. The simple is that I've not had Jimi Wanjigi deny. First, besides what he said and the other implications, but I've not had him deny that is a false accusation, or that kind of dispute does not exist, or that he has not been asked or heard as that matter itself. It's not a framed charge. That he didn't say. And so, you know, that means that there was a dispute that was there that could be elevated to court level, you know, for that matter. And so, in as far as that's concerned, I think that he has to deal with. And so, coming to the second level of it is just what I would advise him. He's a good man that I know, and he's now come to politics. First is I would tell him, welcome to politics. you know, because he's just joined. and then I advise him, you know, what mostly we do in politics is before you step out into the arena, you try to sweep your closet, you know, remove all the bones, and do the best you can to make sure that when you're out there doing the things you're doing, that nobody can come and open it and find some bones that they can attach to anything. And as much as you know, you try to keep it clean, then you can get out there. But you know, it's an arena that you have to be very cautious in and do what you have to do. And when you get into it, you know the kind of dance that you have signed up for. So let him not be very worried, in my view, because this arena is a testy arena, you know. And so let him, you know, I mean, because it's good to
buckle up, because
it's good to put things the way they are.
Yeah.
Because in politics, my friend Trevor, and I'm saying that to my friend Wanjigi in good faith, that you have to be ready to face quite some few tough times and issues, you know, and there will be times to cry, there will be times to laugh, but you must expect that there will be fire, you know, when you're in politics.
All right, so
Now, from the perspective of the law, I don't think we can be casual about this. It's about the rule of law and constitutional order and preservation of human rights of individuals. Looking at the case of the ownership of land, which, of course, is indicated that there was an OB recorded by Jimi Wanjigi about the same. Yeah. The matter was under process of adjudication procedurally. Now, how did it make it a serious crime that you would arraign Jimi Wanjigi, Nurdin Haji and the rest, would arraign Jimi Wanjigi in court to answer certain charges? Now, look at it. There is a court order stopping. It's a court order. It's an order of the court stopping Nurdin Haji and DCI from taking any action. Where did they premise their action of harassing, intimidating, breaking into the property, and taking Jimi Wanjigi to court? And we saw what happened to court. Judge Mrima gave clear directions, freed Jimi Wanjigi. It's just misuse of state power and trying to misuse the judicial system to intimidate individuals who may be reading differently from the state. So if the state itself and the director of public prosecution is defying a court order and is taking an action that has been prohibited by an order of the court, what do you call that? That is anarchy. So what we witnessed around Jimi Wanjigi is pure anarchy by the state. Where are they getting those powers? Because an order of the court is very clear. And an order of the court is not a wishful pronouncement. It must be respected. And Trevor, let's look at it this way. This government has been very notorious in defying court orders and operating outside the rule of law. And therefore, we have been running this country through anarchy. And Jimi Wanjigi, if Jimi Wanjigi, a well-placed citizen of this country, can be a victim of such, what of an ordinary Wanjiku of this country? I think we have a problem here about the rule of law. And let's not laugh and as if it is comedy, what is happening around Jimi Wanjigi. It is rot in the rule of law and constitutional order. And this is probably what you have to look at, away from political interest and political differences, which, of course, Jimi Wanjigi has stated, that is being persecuted politically. I'm one person who will believe very strongly that this is political persecution. Somebody is politically tilted somewhere and is trying to use the state infrastructure and machinery to try and frustrate a citizen who has decided to take an alternative political position. And in fact, right now, Jimi Wanjigi is a hero before Kenya.
But there's a case that
people asking questions. No, a case there is an order barring. Let's not look at the merits and demerits of a small case of land. That is too minor to warrant. It's too
millions or so.
Now, there is an order. Let's look at it this way. There is an order, a court order, stopping individuals from taking action. Okay. Let us not get out of that.
Okay.
If there is a court order, that court is aware of all these issues and has the capacity and ability. And let us not doubt our judiciary. It's so independent, it is so efficient that even such a matter will be adjudicated and the truth will be established in the end and clear decision will be made. Right. The court that is supposed to prosecute this matter has issued an order.
Trevor.
Don't arrest. Why do you go ahead and violate that order?
Okay,
this is pure politics. Okay. This is pure politics choreographed to humiliate Jimi Wanjigi.
We could all sit here and blame each other and say that this is pure politics. But what is...
no, but you see, we are stating facts here.
What is the solution?
There is a court order.
Those are not facts.
And there is a court order. Are we suggesting that now, as a country, we sit and we entertain the executive from defying court orders and rulings?
Let me attempt to respond to your assertion that there's a court order which is being
violated
or violated.
There was.
I think the issue here. Let me just try to be a little bit pragmatic here, because it's not going to help us. You sitting here and saying it's a political. Somebody is jilted somewhere and is using state powers. That's actually not true.
It's true, because why are you defying a court order?
Just wait.
Why are you defying court order?
Why are you defying the court order?
Why don't we respect the court order?
This is a very simple thing of the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing.
No.
So the issue is very clear. If you allow me to respond and stop being cantankerous, then I can be able to guide you in the right direction. Because what we are looking for here is a solution. We have three arms of government. We have the judiciary, we have the legislative arm of government, and we have the executive. I think what we need to do is, and I think the president and the new Chief Justice are attempting to go in that direction. If they can attempt to work together, what we ought to do now is to come up with a system whereby when a judge issues a court order, because there's so many courts in this country, you can go to Nyeri and get a court order. You can go to Narok and get a court order. You'll be arrested to a matter in Nairobi. So the issue here is very clear. I am not disputing that there was or there was not a court order. And I can see you reading
the director of public prosecution, Nurdin Haji, had been served.
Listen, you can say the director...
And even whether served or not, public knowledge.
So, you can say the director of public prosecution, Nurdin Haji, had been served. You know very well that the DPP is not only served individually. He has got his office. You know, he takes the name as a director.
Trevor, this is where
Can I finish what I'm saying, because you're not allowing me to...
Let's not entertain...
No, we're not entertaining. You're not
spicy arguments around serious issues.
Listen.
An order is issued. An order is issued.
Trevor, you know, you're focusing on saying the order is issued. You're not giving us a solution. So if you want to give us a solution, it's simple. All I'm saying is
comply with the order.
Comply. Let me tell you.
When the state
what I'm telling you is very
simple. When the state does not comply with the order.
If you allow me to say and stop being cantankerous, I can finish. Let me finish my point. My point is very simple. I think it's about time. I do not condone what the police did. But in any jurisdiction, all over the world, the FBI, you know, the MI6 or whoever goes in and get in someone who is purported to be a criminal or whatever, they will use force. So that one is given. What I'm saying now, what we need to do is this. It's very simple. If there is a court order, the judiciary and the executive must now sit together. The president... And if you just shut up and listen to what I'm saying, I'll finish this. The president and the Chief Justice must be able to sit together and say, how do we ensure that we cooperate? If there is a court order, let us find a clear system of serving. You know, if you serve this court order, if you ensure that there's a court order, if the police are going there and saying there's a court order, let us find a way. And I think we are 4 legislators here. We can be able to amend the law and say, to avoid what is happening here, let us maybe give a 10 minutes or 1 hour period of verifying this court order. It's a very simple. We have got the ombudsman's office, and that the ombudsman person can be able to play that, because people come up with fake court orders.
One at a time.
Let's start with there are no fake orders.
Yes, there are. Oh, yes, there are. There are so many fake orders.
Provided it's
there are so many fake court orders.
One at a time.
You cannot sit down here and say you've not been served with a court order, and you ignored it as the former secretary.
Don't defend impunity.
I am not.
Before a national
I am not defending it.
Don't.
You're actually notorious in violating court orders, because you say when you were secretary of the labor union, you used to say, this is not a correct court order. This is a fake court order.
No, I never said so.
So
and
please.
I complied with all the court orders.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you explain the judiciary issuing a warrant of...
No, let us not promote impunity.
Hold on.
We are not promoting impunity.
We cannot come to a national division and promote impunity.
Facts.
You know, it would be wrong.
Yes.
No, we can't promote impunity.
How do you explain the same judiciary giving a warrant of arrest and the same judiciary giving a court order stopping an arrest?
Exactly. Thank you.
Now the issue is very simple, is that from the facts that we have is that the accused, or the person who was supposed to be arrested, Jimi Wanjigi, had already served the police with a court order stopping them from the arrest. So the issue is that in as much as the court already issued a warrant of arrest, of course, when the DCI realized they could not arrest him, there was already 2 court orders stopping the arrest of Jimi Wanjigi, or prosecution of the matter, because the matter had been dealt with the High Court. So the issue is the police decided to ignore. And that is not how the country should operate. That is what we call impunity and anarchy. Because if a court order, and you know, anyway, this government has been consistent in ignoring of court order. It is not something new. And you have even had the president saying that sometimes court orders are as useless as any papers. I think from where I sit, Trevor, is that court order 1, and I want to tell my brother, Ledamo Lekina, and he's a well-traveled, he's a global citizen, that court orders are not negotiable. Yeah. When court orders are issued, they are not negotiable. It is not where you say...
You've not answered the question you were asked by Trevor.
That's where I'm coming to. That is why we need to say that even if, of course, there could be some mischief within judiciary, and even Martha Koome the other day accepted in Mombasa that some of the things that judiciary does sometimes is because of corruption. But I think from where we sit, and even DPP accepted yesterday in this matter that came up, that this matter had been stopped by the High Court, that Jimi Wanjigi should not be prosecuted until the matter is dealt with High Court. And by the way, this by extension, if they was investigating, that is why we're asking a simple question. This is a businessman, he's a Kenyan. Why is that to tell, if I have a matter, if I'm a DCI and I want to seek Emmanuel Matangi, why don't I just write, is the senator of Kiambu, write a summons and say, appear at DCI, 9 a.m. tomorrow, we have an interest. Why should we come and destroy your property worth 10 million? So I think as a country, Ledama, we are young people in this country, we are young leaders. Let us not defend impunity and anarchy in Kenya. Let us respect the rule. And by the way, Ledama, when the state will start hitting you, the only line of defense that you will run to is courts.
Listen,
so let us respect what the courts do.
You know,
let us obey what the courts do, because all of us are being protected by courts.
Trevor, I think there is a misunderstanding here, and let me just correct that.
Yeah.
I am not saying or asserting that anyone should disobey court orders. What I'm saying is this: we need to come up with a proper system of how these 2 institutions can be able to cooperate. You've asked a very, very important question and say, how does one court issues a court order stopping the arrest and another one issuing a warrant of arrest? It is a case of the left hand not doing what the right hand is doing. So what I was suggesting, and if these 2 gentlemen would be polite to listen to what I'm suggesting, is that Martha Koome, the Chief Justice, who is very competent, and His Excellency the President, who is the head of the executive, should come up with a way we in the legislative should assist of making sure that we don't repeat such. Because it is true. He said that the DPP admitted this. And I earlier on stated that the DPP is a bigger office. You know, it is not Nordin Haji himself who was served. It was the DPP office. It could be a junior officer in the DPP office who decided to do what? To action the warrant of arrest, not knowing that the higher court We have got we've got the Superior Court, we have the High Court, we have the Magistrate Court. We need to really find a way that we can be able to stop such from happening. And we can only do that by coming up with a system that is able to tell that there is an existing warrant of arrest.
But under the Civil Procedure Act, Chapter 21 laws of Kenya, before we come, one quick one, I want to tell the Dama, just before Wamatange, just 1 minute, there are terms of service. You cannot just say, since DPP is a bigger office, you can't have the procedure of service is
let's agree, Trevor.
Yes.
Let's agree. First, and I want to start with you as the anchor.
This is not about me.
I think one of the things that we need to do is to have control of the debate, such that and this is what we have done all the time. Let's allocate time. If it is Nini, and you remember even when you were in the other house, you used to have a red card, you know, such that when somebody has time to put their points across, they can put it in that time, and then the next person speaks. And then lastly, we cannot spend the few minutes we have shouting to each other. These are very intellectual men. I mean, these guys are learned, you know, this guy has... So we can make our points without having to shout at each other, you know, extensively, and then put our points. You know, I don't see the reason why are we arguing about court orders. Well, all of us are legislators here, and he's also come to the House. Why should we argue about a court order?
Don't argue.
Court orders are not, we cannot argue about it. They are issued, they are obeyable, and even government knows that you have to obey a court order.
Correct.
But then things that we also have to put clear are simple. And you know, remember when I said that we advise our friend Jimi Wanjigi. Jimi Wanjigi is a good man, but you know what happens in the course of setting your own record. If you remember when Jimi Wanjigi went to be arrested the last time, he locked himself inside a bunker. And police, I think, spent there, and I think it was Chage who was talking about it. Police spent the whole night there looking for him when he was inside a bunker. And until the following day when the court order. Another time when they tried to arrest him and take him to DCI, I think he locked his Range Rover, you know, somewhere, and they could not get him until, you know, he got reprieve. So, I mean, that kind of precedent, what is likely to do is that when they're coming for you next time, now they'll anticipate that you are likely to do the same thing. So this time they will come prepared, that they will not give you an opportunity to do what you did last time.
Yeah.
So even for himself, I would advise him that it is better off, once you have been summoned the first time, show up.
Your microphone is on.
So once you show up, the police also know that once you are called, you are likely to show up, and without drama. You know, so they'll also not prepare for the drama with you. So I think, you know, we cannot necessarily, you know, laud that court orders should be disobeyed, but neither can we hail Jimi Wanjigi, you know, in the past incidences when he has, you know, shown that if asked to show up, or if, you know, asked to accompany the officers, that he will employ those kind of tricks, or maybe use gimmicks and other force to stop the officers from this. Because I believe that's maybe why they were acting the way they were. Let's summarize this. Okay. When a court order has been issued, it must be respected. We are a country that obeys the rule of law. Okay. But even as citizens, when you are asked to show up, and then show up, and set a good precedent. And I believe at the level of Jimi Wanjigi, he's a good man. He's a guy who's gone places. He's got a track record in this country as a big entrepreneur. Take it up there. And in politics, I believe he can do better. The only thing I said earlier is also politics is not like business. I mean, the rules are different. The game is different. The arena is different. Okay. So sometimes it gets hot in politics. It's also good to let him know that.
Let's switch gears to page 14.